While Canadians slept Tuesday evening, the Liberal government rammed through a controversial piece of legislation in committee that will give them the power to regulate your social media and your YouTube posts. I wish I was exaggerating, but the top experts in the field have all said this legislation is problematic, it's seriously flawed, it needs to be changed or completely abandoned, and the Liberals wouldn't listen to them. You don't believe me? Here's a headline from CBC. Your free speech is at risk with Ottawa's push to regulate online content. Well, if stories in the CBC are saying Justin Trudeau's gone too far, I hope we can all agree that means Justin Trudeau has gone too far. Now, Professor Michael Geist at the University of Ottawa, he's one of the top experts on this issue. I did a full podcast with him, an hour-long conversation on this legislation, previously called Bill C-10. Now it's known as Bill C-11. And he put up a new blog post in response to what happened Tuesday evening. By the way, this happened Tuesday evening, technically Wednesday morning at 12:15 a.m. That's when the Liberals rammed through this flawed piece of legislation through committee. What that means is you can no longer change it and you can no longer have expert discussion and tinker with it and make it better. Instead, it's now definitely going to the House of Commons, where Justin Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh are going to use their coalition deal to push this bill forward. Here's what Michael Geist had to say. He says with roughly 170 amendments proposed by 5 parties, there is only time for a fraction of the amendments to be reviewed. He says that the voting ran past midnight with the public left with little idea of what is in or out of the bill. The updated bill will be posted in the next day or so. The sham process notably excluded debate on many of the proposed amendments on regulating user content. So many experts stepping forward and saying, look, we appreciate there's part of these bills where you want to change the CRTC, the Broadcasting Act, that has to do with completely different issues. But what you're doing here is you're also giving yourself the power to censor people's social media, user-generated content, they called it. This was what the community was saying. This was the outcry, and the government had the opportunity to revise it, and they didn't. And instead, they've passed a bill, or at least they've put forward this bill, past committee. It's going to be passed soon. We're not even really sure what's in it, but it's all done now. Wow, it actually happened. Well, if you got something to say it now. Smoke them if you got them, because the famous Liberal internet censorship bill looks like it's going through as is.